Alrighty, folks, I'm following a mental breakdown from myself in my YouTube video yesterday. We did manage to turn things around a little bit. We did cash in on 3 tickets yesterday on my website. We had the Orioles, Rockies, and we also had a 2-teamer featuring Cleveland and Miami. And guys, that's going to put us back to 75% in my last dozen daily best plays on that website. Once again, folks, we are now hitting at 75% in my last dozen daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, the daily best play is a membership that I offer on my website. It's only going to cost you just $1.99, and you're going to get access to one of my premium selections every single day for the next 30 days. If you sign up for that membership here today, the math works out to be just 6 cents a day. That is it. And of course, I also have a bunch of different memberships and packages that I offer on that site. And of course, that gives you access to much more. I actually have a Chairman podcast that breaks down every single one of my premium plays in video format. And the only way you can access the Chairman podcast is to be a Chairman member on that site. Now, I currently have over 550 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. And if you want to see my current record in all of my different packages and my overall record just in general, that's also available to you right on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Phillies at the Marlins, 6:40 p.m. East. Miami's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Taijuan Walker for Philadelphia. Edward Cabrera for Miami. Eddie's just 5-6 on the year with an ERA close to 5. And my biggest concern with Miami in this spot here, well, it's run production. They certainly aren't at a shortage for hits, but those base runners are rarely getting around to home plate. The Fish are currently a bottom 3 run-producing team in the National League. They're also facing Taijuan Walker, who does nothing but win games. The righty's got 11 wins on this season with 98 strikeouts for the Phils. He's officially 11-4 on the year with a 1.27 whip. And out of Walker's last 19 starts this season, the Phils have taken the loss only 4 times. Great things happen when Walker takes the mound, and of course, a lot of that success is due to some pretty timely hitting. Bryson Stott's now batting .306. Kyle Schwarber's got all the homers and RBI. Christian Pache is still out for Philly. Jazz Chisholm inactive for Miami. 6 out of Cabrera's last 8 starts for the Marlins stayed under the total. Miami also went 4-2 to the under in their last 6 ball games at Lone Depot Park. Now, the Phils, on the other side, they went 10-2 to the under in their last dozen Taijuan Walker starts themselves. Give me the Phillies plus $1, under 8.5. Next game, Brewers Nationals, 7:05, Nation's capital. Milwaukee's the $2 favorite on the road, totals 9 runs. Corbin Burns for Milwaukee, Jake Irvin for Washington. And typically, guys, I would hate this price point with Milwaukee here. But they are facing the worst home team in the National League in the Nationals. The Nats are currently dead last in home wins this year in the National League. And, of course, their pitchers are giving up nearly double-digit hits a game at Nationals Park. Now, starting pitcher Jake Irvin, he's been no exception to that. He's got just 3 wins and 74-plus innings. The righty's also got an ERA just about in the 5s. Now, they're taking on a... Excuse me. They're taking on a Brewers club who has played some really good baseball when Burns makes the start. These guys got the W in 5 out of their last 6 Corbin Burns starts. And of course, the strength of this Brewers franchise right now has been their pitching. It's been that way for the past couple of seasons. These guys are in the top 5 in the big leagues in fewest hits allowed on the road. Winker, Anderson, and Tellez are still out for Milwaukee. Those guys should definitely improve at the plate when those guys are back. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Milwaukee's last 10 ball games fell under the total. Meanwhile, Washington went 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me the Brewers -1.5, under 9. Next matchup, little divisional game here. Rays at the Yankees, 7:05 Bronx. Tampa Bay is -130 on the road, totals 8.5. Tyler Glasnow for Tampa Bay. Domingo Germán for New York. Now, German's just 5-7 on the year with an ERA close to 5. He's also backed by the worst hitting lineup in the AL East. New York's currently averaging only 7.1 hits per contest at Yankee Stadium. Now, they're going to have to face Tyler Glasnow, who's got a low ERA, low whip, and a bunch of strikeouts. The righties punched out 88 hitters in just 61 plus. And no real surprise here, folks. Glasnow's got an ERA in the low 3s, along with a 1.12 whip. And even if Glasnow struggles, the Rays can certainly outscore most clubs in the league. These guys are a top 5 run-producing lineup in the majors. Yandy Diaz is tied for the club lead in runs scored. 315 batting average and an OPS in the 900s. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena, he has the most RBI on the roster. And he's also tied with Yandy for the club lead in runs. Walls and Mejia are still out for Tampa Bay. Jose Trevino still inactive for New York. 3 out of the Bombers' last 5 at Yankee Stadium got over the total. New York also went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, the Rays on the other side, they are currently 61% to the over in their divisional ball games. Give me the Rays -130, over 8.5. Next matchup, O's, Jays, 7:07 East. Toronto's $1.55, totals 9. Chris Bassett for Toronto, Kyle Gibson for Baltimore. Now, the O's have won 5 out of their last 8, and they've done one heck of a job against the AL East. They're 21-13 against divisional opponents, and they have a .632 win percentage in their divisional road games. And, of course, a lot of that is thanks to some really good plate appearances on the road. These guys are currently a top 3 run-producing lineup in their travels. Gunnar Henderson, he scored most of the runs in the lineup this year. 43 free passes as well for the infielder. Not a lot of people talking about Gunnar Henderson at the dish, but he does make things happen, and he rounds the base paths. You know, he's a great guy to have in the lineup. And speaking of which, Ryan O'Hearn, he's hitting .304 with an OPS close to 900. And I tell you what, these guys sure love hitting for starting pitcher Kyle Gibson. The righty's got 9 wins on the season, and he's also been helping himself out as well. Gibby's currently struck out 103 batters. Now, they're facing a Blue Jays team who's struggled offensively in recent gatherings, especially with Baltimore. The Jays have been held to just 3.9 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with the O's. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, Toronto's been absolutely piss poor in divisional competition. You're going to want to listen up to this. Toronto's 3-10 in their divisional home games. They're also 7-20 in all of their contests against the AL East. These guys do not win divisional games. And really, the only good news for Blue Jays backers is that they're not going to have to face Aaron Hicks or Cedric Mullins for Baltimore. Both guys inactive for the O's here today. Now, the O's have seen a good amount of overs against AL East opponents. They're 14-5 in their last 19 divisional road games. Meanwhile, Toronto's gone 63% to the over in their divisional ball games themselves. Give me the Orioles +1.5, over 9. Next game, Angels-Braves, 7:20 p.m. East. Atlanta's -225, totals 10. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Griffin Canning for Los Angeles. Now, the Angels have taken the loss in 3 out of Canning's last 6 starts. He also comes into today's ball game with a .446 ERA. Now, the Angels have had all kinds of issues against National League opponents this year out of their last 14 interleague road games. The Angels got the W only 5 times. And as good as they are at the plate, most games, they still are averaging 9.2 strikeouts per contest. Now they're facing 10-win Charlie Morton, who's punched out 120 batters this year himself. The Braves also got the W in 6 out of Morton's last 9 starts, and they scored 55 total runs in those ball games. Of course, a lot of that is thanks to guys like Ronald Acuna, who's got the second highest batting average in the majors. The outfielder is also the National League leader in OPS. Meanwhile, Matt Olson's got more RBI than any other player in the league right now. Injury-wise, Trout, Rendon, Drury, Ward, and Adele back on the injured list. Zach Neto is also questionable. These guys shoved all in. They put all their chips in, and they got guys back on the IL. This is a snake-bitten franchise. The Angels are 9-5 to the over in their last 14 interleague road games. Atlanta's gone 63% to the over this year in all of their contests at Truist Park. Give me the Braves -1.5, over 10. Next contest, a little NL Central action. Reds at the Cubs, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Chicago's $1.25 at Wrigley Field, totals 8 runs. Marcus Stroman for Chicago, Andrew Abbott for Cincinnati. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm a believer in Abbott. He's 6-2 on the season. And more impressive, the lefty's got an ERA of 1.90 as well as a .96 whip. This is a good pitcher, at least right now. Now, as an organization, the Reds are playing some pretty good baseball. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they're a top 10 hit-producing lineup on the road. Matt McClain hits .305 with an OPS in the 900s. Spencer Steer's the club leader in hits. Now, they're facing a Cubs team. Oh, I didn't mention Elly De La Cruz. Well, you guys know how I feel about that whole situation. Glaze fest. Glazing Elly De La Cruz. Hey, guys, just a news flash. I get it. Dynamic player. Just out of this world talent. I'm not denying that. But the glazing has got to stop. This kid's got an OPS still in the 700s, and he strikes out in over a third of his at-bats. This isn't God. He doesn't walk on water. We got to start being realistic about his production. I get it. 7 homers, bunch of stolen bases. Production, guys. Just production. I don't know. The glazing just by. I think the media is just trolling us at this point with the glazing. But anyway, they're facing a Cubs team who lost 4 out of their last 6 Marcus Stroman starts. And as hot as the Cubbies have been, well, they're playing just 500 baseball in their divisional home games. You know, the Phillies used to glaze with Mickey Moniak years ago when he wouldn't do shit for the Phils. He'd go 1 for 5, and it's Mickey Moniak, he's the best. He stunk in Philly. Now he's really good in LA. But anyway, what am I talking about? I've been real fired up over the past couple of days. You've seen it. Unhinged a little bit. But anyway, they're playing just 500 baseball in their divisional home games. Of course, I'm talking about the Cubs, and their biggest issue offensively has been strikeouts. These guys average nearly double-digit punch-outs a game. Ian Happ, who's a huge contributor offensively, he's a big strikeout guy. Happ struck out 106 times this year. Now, injury-wise, Edwin Rios is still out for Chicago. Johnny India out for the Reds. 7 out of Cincy's last 10 meetings with Chicago did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Meanwhile, Chicago saw overs in their last 4 straight Stroman starts. Give me Cincinnati +105, over 8. Next matchup, Guardians Astros, 8:10 Eastern first pitch. Houston's $1.75, totals 9. JP France for Houston. Noah Syndergaard somehow for Cleveland. Syndergaard's in Cleveland? Yes. Syndergaard somehow has wound up in Cleveland. He's with the Phils last year. Who was he with? Was he back with the Angels earlier in the year? No, Dodgers, right? Dodgers, then I don't know. This guy's on a different team every week. Anyway, Syndergaard's just 1-4 in the year, ERA in the sevens. And even if he does throw well, the Guardians just aren't great at the dish. They're a bottom 5 run producing lineup in the American League. They're going to have to face J.P. France, who's 6-3 with an ERA in the twos. Very tough to hit. And that really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. These Houston pitchers have been very crafty this year. They're in the top 5 in the American League in fewest runs allowed per 9. Now, Houston's held Cleveland to under 3.8 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. The under cashed in 60% of those ball games. So once again, if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, Cleveland went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Astros -1.5, under 9. All right, next game, little NL West action. Padres at the Rockies, 8:40 p.m. East. San Diego's the $2 favorite at Coors Field. Totals 11.5. Seth Lugo for San Diego. Austin Gomber for Colorado. And I'll tell you what, I do think Gomber can take advantage of a bad San Diego lineup of hitters. The lefty's got 8 wins on the season despite his crappy numbers. And in Gomber's last 6 starts, the Rockies have scored for the lefty. They averaged 5 runs a game during that time frame. Now, Randall Grichuk, he is the club leader in batting average. Ryan McMahon's got the most homers and total bases. Of course, they're facing a Padres team who's got a losing record in divisional play, and they do have a tough time on the road. The Pods are currently 6 games below 500 in their road trips. And of course, most of that is due to just poor plate appearances. These guys are in the bottom 3 in the entire league in road hits per contest. And out of Seth Lugo's last dozen starts, the Pods got the W only 3 times. And that's absolutely a crime because Lugo is a good pitcher. That's insane for a guy who has an ERA in the 3s and a 1.20 whip. The Pods just don't show up for the guy. That's a shame because he's thrown some really good stuff this year. Just 3-9 in his last dozen starts. Now, Hae-Sung Kim is questionable for San Diego. Blackman and Bryant still out for the Rockies. 6 out of Colorado's last 10 outings fell under the number. Meanwhile, San Diego went 80% to the under in their last 10. Give me the Rockies +1.5, under 11. Next contest, Red Sox, Mariners, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's $1.35 at home, totals 8. George Kirby for Seattle, Nick Pivetta for Boston. And even though Pivetta's looked good in more than a handful of outings, he does tend to give up runs at times. He currently has an ERA of 4.11. The Bo Sox also have a tough time hitting away from Fenway. These guys are a bottom 10 hit-producing lineup in their road trips. A stark contrast from when they're at Fenway because when they're in Beantown, you can't keep them off the base paths. Well, a lot different story when they're away from home. Now, they're facing George Kirby here today, who could also be a problem because he continues to throw well this year. Kirby's got an ERA in the 3s along with a stingy 1.08 whip. And, of course, much of that is thanks to 112 big strikeouts. Now, the Seattle pitching staff as a whole, they've been real tough to hit against this season. They're walking only 2.6 batters a game, which is almost a league low. Pollock and Kelenic are still out for the M's. Reese McGuire is still injured for Boston. 4 out of the Red Sox last 5 road games fell under the number. They're also 80% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, Seattle went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Marlins -135, under 8. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that D-backs-Giants game, 9:45 Eastern, first pitch. This game's currently off the board. Alex Cobb for San Francisco, Ryan Nelson for Arizona. Despite his record, Ryan Nelson's a bit unpredictable. He's got an ERA pretty much in the 5s, along with a 1.41 whip. And as an organization right now, well, the D-backs are really kind of fumbling the bag. They lost 8 out of their last 10 ball games, and they've recorded only 7 total wins in the month of July. They were right in the driver's seat with regard to playoff chances. And aside from Nelson's problems himself, this Arizona pitching staff as a whole, they have a tough time away from Chase Field. They're allowing 5.1 runs a game in their travels this year. They're facing a Giants club who won 4 out of their last 5 themselves. They allowed only 2.4 runs a game during that short time frame. Alex Cobb also comes into today's ball game with 100 strikeouts and an ERA in the 2s. And of course, these Giants pitchers, they've shown some exceptional control this year. They don't give you any freebies. They walk fewer batters per contest than any other staff in the game. Estrada's still out for the Giants. Yastrzemski's questionable. Give me the Giants getting the job done for some money line cash. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap for Monday, July 31st, 2023. Give me the Phillies plus $1 under 8.5. Brewers minus 1.5 under 9. Rays minus 130 over 8.5. I'm hitting at 75% my last dozen daily best plays on my website. And if you're watching me here on TikTok, the link for my site is in my bio. Give me the Orioles plus 1.5 over 9. Atlanta Braves minus 1.5 over 10. Reds plus 105 over 8. Astros minus 1.5 under 9. Rockies plus 1.5 under 11. Mariners minus 135 under 8. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me the Giants getting the job done for some money line cash. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, I'm also going to throw in all of my cheaper memberships for you, absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And of course, as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.